Todd, poll question for the first hour is going to be what?
All right, timely off of last night. In the NFC, I would take the Lions, the field.
Well, I have the Lions winning the Super Bowl, so I'm going to say I'll take the Lions. But would anybody else take the Lions over the field? Paulie, quick with the hand going up.
Yeah, I felt good about them in August. I feel better now, more so because the field seems weaker.
Okay.
The Niners seem vulnerable. The NFC South seems lightly threatening. The Vikings seem maybe real, and I don't think the Cowboys or Eagles are as good as they were expected to be.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah. Yes, Todd?
I'm going to play the odds and take the field.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yep.
Marvin, you are a Niner fan, so I'm going to guess you're going to stay with the Niners.
I am. I'll stay with the field for now.
Okay. That's fair enough. Any other poll questions there?
We do. Would you say Jared Goff had a perfect game last night? Yes, he completed all his passes, threw for nearly 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, and caught a TD, or not quite?
Well, it's not listed as a perfect game, even though he didn't have an incompletion. So, I mean, once again, I don't get into QBR. I think it's silly. But, Paulie, what was Jared Goff's final rating last night?
Okay, weirdly, with no incompletions and no interceptions, he did not have a perfect quarterback rating, which is 158.3.
Okay.
His was 155.8. So that means, what was the negative that took him away from that?
Yes.
There was no more completions to have.
Yes.
Right? And someone else a couple weeks ago had a perfect quarterback rating without being perfect from passing completions.
Well, Goff goes 18 for 18, 292, 2 touchdowns. He joins Kurt Warner. Let me see. Those are the only quarterbacks that throw at least 10 passes in a game without an incompletion or interception. I didn't realize that. I would have thought that there would have been a few more quarterbacks to do that. But 18 for 18, 292, 2 touchdown passes, and he caught a touchdown pass as well. Yes, Paul.
Just last week we had this discussion, and we suggested that a perfect game for a quarterback is when every drive they leads into scoring. I think Jaden Daniels had one of those for the Commanders.
Yeah.
Should that be a perfect game?
I don't like QBR.
Right.
Because 158.3 doesn't sound perfect to me. How about 100? 100 sounds perfect. Not 158.3.
What if your kid came home from school, aced my test, I got a 158.3.
Yeah. Or I got a 58.3. I nailed it. No, you didn't.
There's a curve.
Yeah. Watching the Lions last night, you got to see glimpses of what they can be offensively. Jared Goff goes 18 for 18, 2 touchdowns, caught a touchdown pass as well. And I think people still aren't quite sure about the Lions. They were 1/2 away from being in the Super Bowl last year. They're up 24-7. Then they puckered up. Then halftime happened. If they could have said, no, we're going to wave off halftime, we want to start in the third quarter, they would have been in the Super Bowl. They had their moment. Sometimes you see teams that get to that moment, and then it takes them a while to break through a glass ceiling. We've seen that with players, teams, down through history. A lot in the NBA. The Pistons could never get by the Celtics, or the Bulls couldn't get by the Pistons. And then once you do that, then you never look back. In the NFL, it's a little bit different, trying to keep a great team, dynasty together. It's a little easier keeping your team, a starting 5 in the NBA. But with the Lions, here's a quiet thing. Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator with the Lions, had opportunities, I think, with a variety of teams. Now, he did want a lot of money, probably a lot of control, but they kept their offensive coordinator. And normally when teams are successful, then their coordinators go on to become head coaches. But the Lions kept Ben Johnson, who will have his opportunities to be a head coach in the offseason. Jameson Williams is finally playing. He had kind of like a 1.5 years off where there was the gambling suspension. He was injured as a rookie, but he's throw him in there with the long line of Alabama receivers. He is a guy who can go deep. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, you got Jamar Gibbs. Like, you have running back. You got the full arsenal there. Penei Sewell is perhaps a Hall of Fame lineman here, But the Lions are a really good team, dangerous team. The question is, what did they learn from last year that will help them? That's why I always look at the Cowboys when they get to the postseason. What did they learn from the previous years when they get to the postseason? The Baltimore Ravens, when you get to the postseason, did you learn anything from last year? That's going to help you? That's what you want out of a team. They figured it out. It's like Kansas City had a brutal loss to Tom Brady and the Patriots in the AFC title game. They learned, and they haven't looked back. And that's what you want with great potential here. And hopefully the Lions, live up to that potential this year.